Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday, and welcome to another broadcast of the Straight Way Apologist. I am your host, B Man, and hope you had a wonderful weekend. Kind of looking forward to today's discussion. Waiting on my cohorts as usual to come in and kind of get this thing started. I am trying to, as usual, set up the YouTube chat for those of you who may want to come on and voice your opinions and thoughts on the subject matter today is the paradox of salvation by race. Salvation by race is going to be our topic for today, and kind of look at some of the history and background of some particular groups and the things that they have in common. It was kind of an eye opener for me looking into this, and so I thought it was a pretty interesting topic to look at and to delve into. All right. So I am going to post the link. It's not posting. Let me go back. But I'll post a link in YouTube for those of you who may want to come in and voice your thoughts, opinions, affirmative or to the negative on this topic. All right, so just give me a few, my brothers and sisters, as I go ahead and set this thing up in YouTube for you. Oh, what the heck is going on with YouTube today? All right, let me go ahead. I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube this day. Okay, I think that was probably on me then. I posted too long of a thread in there, and so it wouldn't take, but hopefully this will solve that issue. All right, and it should be posted in YouTube, and let me pin it to the top so all of you who may want to come in and voice your thoughts, opinions, concerns, pro or con. It is there for you. All right. So, topic: the paradox of salvation by race. I was, let's see, I'm sorry. All right, I see you. All right. I was at church this last Sunday, and didn't have a typical worship service, and something our pastor was saying about people who say that they profess the faith in Christ, but then are they really worshiping the Christ of the Bible, or are they kind of living their lives in as situations come up? If they need God, of course, He's there, but once they're done with Him, that's it. And well, that wasn't exactly what he was saying, but that's kind of my takeaway from it. And the thought kind of hit me is that as Christians and believers, what is our main focus? What's our main goal when it comes to the eternal? Is it to highlight ourselves, or is it to point the finger towards Christ? And so, as I've been thinking on this for the past week, and of course, what happened on Sunday kind of cemented um, my desire to just go ahead and talk about this, but maybe change it just a little bit. And so the main focus is yes, there are groups out there who want to make salvation, if you will, a thing about race and not about grace. And so there are groups that would point towards, an um, ethnocentric or a race-centric um, view of salvation. And as I began to look into this new movement, I say new movement. It's not that like it's just been around for today, but it's been around for maybe 150 years or so. And I began to look back, and it surprised the heck out of me to see that there's some opposing racial groups that hold the same viewpoints theologically of salvation by grace. I'm sorry, salvation by race. It surprised me that some groups, and particular, in particular, the Arian groups, the white supremacists, they have in common a uh, how do I say this? They use almost like the same verbiage, same scripture as other groups that would be on the opposite spectrum, where you have the Aryans who are, they're Anglo-centric, of course, and you have the groups that are Afrocentric or, race based on color-centric. I may have to call them out as this goes on, but that shocked the heck out of me to look at the history of it and to see that these two groups, they view salvation by race, but they have a common verbiage when it comes to the passages that they use. They have a uh, common viewpoint with certain scriptures and passages to validate their theology, which again I was surprised. All right, so um, the two groups that I'll be focusing on today are the Aryan nation or Anglo Israelites and the Hebrew Israelites. They both claim that salvation is by race. Of course, the Aryans or the Anglo Israelites, they believe that the white race is the race chosen by God, that they are now get this, that they are of the lost tribes of Israel. I'll let that sink in for a little bit. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the Aryan nation, and you kind of know the groups that are offshoots of this movement, and I'll go into their history just a little bit. But the Aryan nation believe that they are of the lost tribes of Israel, and they have a Anglo-centric view of that. The same way you have the Hebrew Israelites who believe that they are the offshoots, or they are the descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. I don't know how two diametrically opposed racial groups can see themselves as such. So that was the surprise to me. All right, so I don't know if I have any Hebrew Israelites who are listening, or if I have any Aryan nation who are listening who may want to come up and you know prove your point. I'll be looking at certain things, and I'm gonna play some clips also. And the things that you're gonna hear, if you kind of uh, have a neutral point of view, not on the Arians or on the Hebrew Israelites, but just have a neutral point of view. Don't let the voices that are speaking, discourage or encourage you to say, well, it's a blank race person speaking, but just listen to their description. And of course, as I said, try to be as unbiased as you can. I am still waiting on my cohorts. I don't want to get too far into this. And then they show up, and then, of course, I have to do a recap on it. If they're not here in the next few minutes, of course, I will go ahead and I will start my presentation. But again, it was a enlightening week of looking through various sites and going down rabbit holes that didn't. Some did reveal some useful information, and of course, some did not. Uh, so I am trying to set this up so that when it's time to prove my point, then it's all set up, and of course, there would be no waste of time. Oh, all right. The Aryans and what they believe. All right. Let me see if I can read something for us. All right, there is a movement. It started in the early 16 to 1700s, and it started in Britain, the UK, and they began what's called the speculation that the Anglo-Saxons were the from the 12 tribes, the lost 10 tribes of Israel, that after the Assyrian capture and release, that they head west into Europe and finally settled in all across Europe. Of course, they left their mark in certain nations. For example, like they would say, like Denmark would be like the tribe of Dan, the Danube River and things like that. So they'll use historical markers like that to say, yeah, that's the that particular tribe settled there, or they came through that area. And of course, then they finally settled into the British Isles. Okay, so there is that's where that started. It was not a very popular move back in the late 16, early 17th century. And then in the 1800s, I'm sorry, yeah, and the 1800s, the early 1800s, it began to be popularized in theory and lectures that the British Empire was part of the lost tribes of Israel. And I don't have a picture of the flag, the Union Jack. Uh, I Again, there's so much information on this, but I could not put everything together. So I'm trying my best to give the pertinent information. But if you look at the British flag, which is called a Union Jack, it has in the center of it, it has a cross. Okay, and then behind it you have the X-shaped cross. Okay, and again, they also claim that the monarchy in England are derived or descendants directly from the tribe of Judah. There are in the lineage of King David. Of course, there are also other tribes if you go further north and east of Israel. You get that the same thing with some of the African descents that they are of the line and the lineage of David. So that's the paradox that I was referring to. That you can have. How can you have two racial groups that claim to be descendants or from the lost tribes of Israel, and they are adamant that their version of it is accurate and that God favors their group and their belief system over everything else. And of course, they also believe that the Jews of today are not the real Jews; that they are part of their Edomites. uh, that's also common with both groups. That the Jews of today are not the original people, the original Israelites, or the remaining tribes of Judah and Benjamin, which we call Jews. All right, so paradox indeed. Yeah. All right, so let me see if I can pull up. I want to play a clip for us. So, I'll see how this is going to work. I'm trying to pull this up, folks. So, but I need to go into my YouTube channel, and hopefully I don't mess things up. And see if I can pull up this clip. This was a discussion between Hebrew Israelites and no, I'm sorry, no, it was between an atheist and a proponent of a Christian basically. And what he was saying was here's the belief system of both groups, and the clip that I'm about to play, if I can get to it. And be patient with me, my brothers and sisters. Be patient with me. Let me try to pull this up. All right. Got it pulled up, and now I need to find the particular section that I want to play. And again, you guys may need to bear with me a little bit because I don't know if this is going to be heard by you guys, or if I need to make some adjustments on my audio so that you can hear it. Okay. So let me see. I'm trying to cue this up for us. Trying to cue this up. Okay, I think I have it queued up now. Let's see if I can do this right. All right, trying to set this up, my brothers, sisters, so hang tight with me just a few. And I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this or not. You guys out there, if you can hear this, once I get it going, please type a 1 in the comment section so I can know that it's being heard, or a 0 if you cannot hear it. I can always go back and replay it for us. All right. So here we go. Now, I want you guys to listen to this and tell me what group you think these brothers are talking about, these men are talking about in this clip. Okay. I hope y'all can hear it. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the
forms, which means Greek, Greece, or Grecian. Notes the singular.
I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let me go back a little bit. I had it muted, so my bad on that one. All right, let's start from there.
Especially in American understandings of Anglo-Israelism.
Interesting. Okay, I'll start at a point. Israel had been rejected, cast out for another, or forsaken, divorced. But in order to be consistent with prophecies of the Old Testament and many passages in the New Testament, right there, he's already showing that, he's trying to interpret this for his own audience. We contend that the other nation to which Jesus referred could have been none other than the house of Israel. That other nation of the two nations into which the seed of Abraham were divided. But says one, Paul said, I turn to the Gentiles. I am the apostle of the Gentiles. I magnify mine office. True, and in this he was obeying the order. To the Jew first, but the Lord certainly sent him also to the Gentiles. The trouble with the word Gentiles, this is where the definition and the meaning is super important. I'm trying to wrap your head around.
Okay, brothers, I want y'all to, and sisters, I want y'all to listen to the definition that is given for the word Gentile and tell me which group uses this as, part of their doctrine. Okay, tell me which group uses this as part of their doctrine. Now, listen to the definition of a Gentile.
The trouble with the word Gentiles to the ordinary English reader is that to his mind, it always excludes God's chosen people, whereas it only excludes the Jewish portion of the chosen race. He's trying to say all Gentiles mean is anyone who's not a Jew. Doesn't mean you're not an Israelite. It means you're not a Jew, according to the Israel. This guy who's a British.
Yeah, so you might be part of one of the Northern Kingdom tribes, for example.
That's exactly what he's trying to say.
Okay. So, what this person is saying, hey, what's up, Captain? Welcome. Were you able to hear what was being said just now?
I heard some of it. Just then.
Okay,
I didn't catch all of it.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if the listeners would be hearing it or not. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There was sound.
Okay, good. All right. So what's being said is the definition of a Gentile. And so the definition of the Gentile that's being given is someone who is not a Jew, meaning they're not of the tribe of Judah or Benjamin, of the southern kingdom, right? But it could be someone who is of the northern kingdom, right? So the Gentile does not simply mean these are non-Jews, right? It could be like, yeah, they are non-Jews, meaning that they are not of the southern kingdom, but they're of the northern kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, which group uses that definition to validate their belief system or their theology? Which group do you know does that?
Since we've been doing this this period of time, only group I've heard does that is the Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, the Hebrew Israelites, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Matter of fact, they kind of say that over and over again. Say, look, yeah, tribe of Judah is where we're from. That's where the lost tribe of Judah, right?
Yeah. Well, they are of the dispersed tribes of the 10 lost tribes.
Of the 10. Well, that would make Northern Kingdom there, make them more Israelite. Well, that's why they say Hebrew Israelite, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now,
okay.
According to the map that they have, they do then, of course, include, the southern tribes also. For example, they'll say like America has the tribe of Judah. I don't have their chart up in front of me, but they will include, the Americas as the tribe of Judah, which would encompass all 12. So they are inclusive. I'll say that about them. They are inclusive when it comes to all 12 tribes, not just the lost 10.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Let me
So
see.
let me ask you a fundamental question here. Guys. I
Sure.
heard it the other day. I want to see what you think. Okay, there are terms: Hebrew, Israelite, Jew, and I think there's one more term. I can't remember the other. And they said, from what I heard, Hebrew, descendants of Eber, which means specifically descendants of Abraham; Israelite, descendants of Jacob, and the 12 tribes like that. And so I'm an Israelite, Israeli, some people call, Jew, descendants of the tribe from the tribe of Judah, from the southern kingdom. Then there's another term. I can't remember the third term. It's a fourth term, but I can't remember the term. Do you agree with that? Those designations?
How they would describe themselves, yes.
Okay.
But it's not only them. As I said, this is about the paradox of salvation by race, because they're not the only ones who have that belief system.
Which is really which is
Yes.
I'm tuning in on, like I'm up on the stage here, but I'm really here to try to say what?
Yeah.
I'm here to learn. Okay.
Yeah, but okay. So here is the designation, if you will, and I'm sure I may not vocalize it the way they would. I may not verbalize it how they would, but I'll do my very best to honor their belief system. They believe that the term Jews comes from the tribe of Judah.
Okay, right. I've
Okay,
heard
so
that.
that's the southern kingdom which would encompass, from what I've heard them say, what I've heard them say, that the southern tribes include Judah, Benjamin, and some of um, uh, the um, the priest. Which tribe? The tribe of
It's tribe of Levi.
Levi. Is it Levi?
Yeah.
The priestly tribe. Yes,
Levi.
yes.
Yeah.
So the Jews would encompass those three tribes: Levi, Benjamin, and Judah. So the term Jews actually come from the tribe of Judah.
Which
Okay,
makes sense to me. Okay.
right. So and now the northern kingdom is of the Israelites, which those are now the scattered. Because again, if you look after Solomon, how the nation of Israel was separated into the northern and southern tribes, the northern tribes being Israel, southern tribe being Judah. And so when the northern tribes were scattered, those were the Israelites, and the southern tribes became Judah. So in their theology, currently, that's the designation that they use. That the northern tribes are Israelites and the southern tribes are Judah or Jews. So when the term Gentiles is being used, it would encompass anyone who's not of Judah, who's not a Jew, if you will.
Okay.
Okay, so that's my understanding. If there's someone out there who's of that belief system who want to correct me, then of course you're also welcome to correct me. There's a link in YouTube at the top if you want to click on that link, right? And of course, if I'm saying something that's not consistent with your belief system, please free to come on, because again, I'm not of that belief system. I'm looking into it. Of course, I can make mistakes, and I don't want to lump you all into one barrel, because I know there's different sect of Hebrew Israelites out there. Okay, so we just looked at a clip that kind of says, what I just explained. There's the term Gentile does not mean like strictly non-Israelite or non-Jew.
It
It
doesn't.
can include, of course, non-Israelites, non-Jews, but it's also inclusive to include the 12 tribes. because they were scattered among the nations, if you will. Make sense what I'm saying?
Doesn't make sense to me, but I hear what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, but
I'm
that's
trying to
part.
take it in.
Yeah, that's part of what they're saying. That when the Bible speaks of Gentiles, it's speaking of the northern kingdom that was scattered into the the world, right? So when the Bible speaks of salvation for the Gentiles, it's for those Jews, if you will. I'm using that term inclusive now, for those of Hebraic descent, if you will, who were scattered among those 12 tribes into the other nations of the world. So when the Bible speaks of all nation, tribes, and tongues, it's actually only speaking of the descendants of Abraham, not the descendants of, let's say, Lot or the Edomites or anyone that's outside of those 12 children, those 12 tribes, the Ishmaelites. The nations doesn't include no one else but those 12 sons of Abraham, not the 13th,
Okay.
or no one else outside of the 12 children, or if you will, the 12 tribes of Israel is included when the Bible speaks of nations. You, I hope I'm not confusing you even more.
Totally so. Totally confused now. I was just a little bit confused before. Now I'm completely confused.
Right.
Because I think what I'm maybe hearing, I think I've heard this before. And over the days, over the weeks and months since we've been doing this, we've heard feedback that even was steering me toward the statement that was being said that basically really there's no Gentiles.
Right.
Not
Okay.
really. There's
There.
not really that Gentile, that word Gentile, that designation is unfortunate because there really are no Gentiles. Like, for example, I would say as a black man, who with skin like me, and my descendants, of course, in my ancestry, I can only trace it back as far as the slave masters that were Morris that I got my name from. And so my name goes back to about the 1800s, and I can't trace it any further than that from what I can find out. And I said, okay, I'm a Gentile because I don't know about any connection to Hebrew, Jewish, Israelite. I don't know it, and I know that fourth designation was Israeli, not Israelite. So that's 4 designations. So I said, I'm a Gentile, Jew, Gentile. I'm a Gentile. I said, no, you're not. You're not a Gentile. You just don't know your history, right? So I said, so really, you're saying if I'm not, if I'm a Jew, that means everybody's a Jew, kind of basically. And several of his brothers have said exactly that. Yes, you actually just your only problem is one of ignorance. You don't know your ancestry. And that's what I was told.
Right.
So go ahead.
Okay, but
Again,
that's the
it'll,
basis of it. That's the basis of it. That the word Gentile would include, well, I would say maybe exclusively refers to the nations among which the 10 tribes were scattered into.
the 10 tribes. You're going to
The 10
exclude
tribes,
you're
right?
going to exclude Judah and Benjamin of the southern.
Right, because yes, right.
Okay.
So since the lost tribes were scattered into the other nations all around the world, right? Then when the Bible speaks of salvation will come to the Gentiles, they're believing that it's the people who are in those areas of the world that were originally from the 10 lost tribes. So, for example, you can have someone who is, let's say, they're from Greece. Well, again, we're looking at a paradox here, right? You can have someone who's from Greece, right? And they'll say, oh, I'm not a Jew, I'm not this, but I'm Grecian, right? But then they'll say, no, but you are a Jew because you are a descendant of one of those lost 10 tribes. You were scattered, your people were scattered, and you just happened to settle in Greece, or you happen to settle in Rome, or you just happen to settle in Spain. But you're actually not a Spaniard, you are a member of the lost tribes. And so the Bible calls you a Gentile because salvation shall come to the Gentiles, which are Jews, the children of Abraham. Okay?
Okay. Now you're calling this, and I'm trying to get it. You're calling this the paradox
Yes.
of salvation by race.
Right. Because
Yeah, go ahead.
because I just named some European countries, right? But now that is called the Anglo-Israelites, right? And later on down in history, they became the Christian Israelites. Okay, but these are the Anglo-Israelites because they're okay. I'm going somewhere with this. Just bear with me. Just bear with
No,
me.
no, I'm just saying. I'm just amazed. I'm in wonder because I've never heard these things.
Yeah. Hey, until a few weeks ago, I did not either. It's just by happenstance. Well, I shouldn't say by happenstance. By the grace of God, I was doing some research, and I came across this as well. Now, this is something I have to delve into. But yeah, so um, these this belief system, and this is the paradox that they went into the lost tribes went into Europe, right? Where for the let's say the Hebrew Israelites, they believe that the lost tribes were of African descent that went into slavery all around the world, right? That they went north into Africa and they got west into Africa from Israel once they were dispersed through the Assyrians and the Babylonians and so forth. That they went west and they went down into Africa and they kind of intermingled with them and so on and so forth and so on. But they were still Israelites. But the people of those regions knew that they were. So when it came time to sell slaves to the Europeans, they sold these Israelites. They did not sell their native black people, but they sold the Israelites into slavery. And so that's how you'd get the disbursements of the Israelites now into the West Indies and into the Bahamas and into, the Americas.
Wait a minute now, but doesn't that then? Wait a minute, doesn't that validate the Hebrew Israelites' claim that 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 the transatlantic slave trade was us, people who came like us?
Right, but see, here's the paradox. Yes, that's what the Hebrew Israelites believe, but what do the Anglo Israelites believe? They believe that their people went further west, like northwest into Europe, across into Germany and Italy, France and Spain, and further west until they got to the British Isles. Okay,
And we're not. So they were not a slave. They were not enslaved then.
well, the slavery thing comes up later. But
Okay,
they're
wait a
coming
minute.
out of slavery. They were coming from exile into freedom. They may use the same passages. I mean, the same. Yeah, I'll say that the same verbiage, the same. Some even use the same passages, biblical passages, to validate
Oh man,
their belief system. So,
this
but
is,
okay, so let me see if I can play this. Now, remember previously, right? I played their definition of a Jew or of a Gentile. That a Gentile is not simply one of a non-Israelite race or heritage, but is someone who is of a Israelite heritage, but scattered among the, if you will, the non-Israelites. So when the Bible speaks of Gentiles, it's not speaking of people in general. It's speaking specifically of Israelites who are the descendants of Abraham, of the
okay,
12 tribes.
okay,
Okay, all right.
okay.
So now that's what the here's where the paradox comes in, and I'm hoping I'm playing from the right
Paul's
cue.
going after Gentiles, and they apply themselves as Gentiles. In some sense, they're applying themselves as the lost tribes. I'm not trying to get lost in any other topics, but there's a group that I also discuss these ideas with, and they think the same idea. The originators of this Israel-only group actually learned a lot from Christian identity about this doctrine from them. And so it is derivative of British Israelitism, this interpretive method. It's something there. So what made the British people say we're the lost tribes? But
You get that? What makes the British people think that they are the lost tribes?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the Anglo-Israelites I'm speaking about now. And that teaching that started in the 1800s. That you thought like the Hebrew Israelites had it all to themselves, didn't you?
Of course I did. Because
And that's what surprised me.
I'm not knowing nothing about Anglo people making any claim to be Jewish, Hebrew, Israeli, or Israelite. This is my first time hearing Anglo saying, or British people saying, we're Israelites. We're Anglo Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we got? Is that what we have?
Yep.
This is Byron. Byron. So Byron knows something about this.
I guess so.
And Anglo Israelite never went into bondage, never lost their identity.
Right. But they use the same passage, Deuteronomy 28, that speaks of the same curses that if you don't obey, then you'll be scattered.
Right.
Deuteronomy 28, same thing.
They're using that too. Okay.
Yes.
I plead ignorance here. I am here to be educated. Okay.
Let me see if I can put this on. I'm hoping I can put this on the screen. Let me stop sharing that. Byron, if you want to come up and voice, because I'm trying to do multiple things here, and trying to do that and read what you're writing at the same time is kind of distracting. So you're always invited to come up, my brother. You're always invited to come up and to share what you want us to understand.
Yeah, come on, Byron. Come on, man. Believe me, I'm here to listen. This is new for me. Completely.
Yeah. All right, let's see if I can do this. This really surprised me. It really did. Okay, I'm trying to queue up what I am. Okay. Hey, Byron, hang on a second. I'm gonna bring you up in a second, Byron. Hey, Byron, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. How y'all doing? Shalom.
Yeah, you are a Hebrew Israelite, correct?
Yes, sir. Well, yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Shalom, my brother.
All
How you doing?
All right.
You know, the last time we talked, we didn't agree on a lot of things.
Okay. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised, because I'm not going to agree with a lot of things Hebrew Israelites say. But it does mean I'm not going to listen to it. Okay? It does mean that we can't have a civil conversation.
And the only thing I'd ever tell anybody is to do what Isaiah 1 says, for us to reason together.
Mm-hmm.
We can't know it unless we sit down and reason and talk with one another and listen to what each other is saying. Because right now, the Father is painting a picture for us. And nobody knows the fullness of the picture, but we all have to bring our colors to the portrait. And when we all bring our colors to the portrait, then we'll see the picture more clearly as a people. We came in it together and we come out together. And those that join themselves to you will come out with you. That's why what y'all talking about is very interesting, and it's all right there in the word.
All right. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to show is the paradox between what you as a Hebrew Israelite believe and what some current American racists believe, and you're using the same, if you will, historical narrative, similar in your belief systems, but the only difference would be in which race is portrayed as the favored. One would say it's Anglo, another one would say it's that the Anglos are the Edomites, or they're those that will not be saved. They'll be subjected to another race, and the same thing the other side does. So if you're looking at strictly as a racial thing, right? You have the white supremacist who says, no, no, we are of the lost tribes, and everyone will be subjugated to us. We're superior. Then you have on the other side now you have some Hebrew Israelites, and I would say a lot of them, but again, I don't want to go that deep. But the majority of Hebrew Israelites, as far as I've dealt with, believe that again the favored race would be the of those of African descent who are part of the transatlantic slave trade, and will be the favored race, and they will subjugate the white race under Christ. So you have the same belief system. The only difference is some is, on one side is both sides are racial, but one side believe the white people are the favored, the other side believe that the black people are the favored race. But they're coming from, if you will, the same biblical roots. That's not sustainable. So I wanted to show this. Again, let me make sure I'm pulling up the right thing before I share it. Okay, yeah. Let me see if I can share this one. I do have more than. Okay. All right. So what we have on the screen is you have comparing beliefs about Israelite roots. And you have the Arian or the Christian identity. Then you have the black or uh, I know Hebrew Israelites do not like the term black, but this is not. This is something that I cannot change on this particular slide, my brother. So if it's offensive to you, it was not the intent, but it's something that I cannot change. Okay, so I'll try to leave out the word black when I'm saying this because I know for some of you that is offensive. So again, not my intent to offend. All right. So this is not my chart. This is something I came across. Okay. So comparing the beliefs about the Israelites. So you have the Aryans or Christian identity, and then you have the Hebrew Israelites. Now, these are the what they have in common, right? They both believe that they are the true Israelites. Both groups. White Europeans are the literal descendants of the lost tribes, right? The Hebrew Israelites believe that the African descent, right, from the Americas and the West Indies and the Afro Caribbeans are the true Israelites. Both believes that the modern Jews are Edomites, okay, or Ashkenaz. Okay, they both believe the same thing. Now, keep in mind, now these are Aryans, and if you will, if you think about Aryans, you think about groups like the Arian Nations. Yes, those people. Okay, believe the
Wow.
same things about who they are as the Hebrew Israelites. They both call modern Jews Edomites, or those who are not part of the 12 tribes who will not be saved. They are Edomites. Okay, they believe again God's covenant applies exclusively to that particular group. For the Aryans, it's the white Europeans. And for the Hebrew Israelites, primarily the black Israelites, those who were part of the transatlantic slave trade. Now, they also will include some groups. Again, I can't speak for all. Some groups will include, those of a Native American descent, and also maybe Afro Caribbeans or Spanish Afro-Caribbeans, like the Puerto Ricans, or those of Spanish descent who are part of the Caribbean islands. Okay, their biblical proof, again, they both use the prophecies, genealogies, and migration theories. They both use the same thing, Deuteronomy 28. They both use that to say where the Hebrew Israelites may use, the part about going into slave ship, or well, it doesn't even say slave ship, just ships back to Egypt. But the Aryans will use the prior verses to say, yeah, if you don't obey me, then I will scatter you throughout the nations. So they both use Deuteronomy 28. Okay, they both believe, like in end time, God will destroy the non-whites for the Aryans, and God will punish the other nations that oppress the black Israelites, and He will elevate them to rule over them. Okay, they both have their origins in the 19th and 20th century. Now, for the Aryans, they started like maybe in the 17th century. It was kind of mentioned, but not really delved into until the like late 1800s into the early and mid 19th century. I'm sorry, the late 19th century, which would be the 1800s, and the early 20th century up to like the 50s and 60s. Okay, and their view again on mixed race is that it's corrupting the bloodline, and that's for the European Israelites, and for the Hebrew Israelites, it's discouraged or condemned against God's laws. Similar, right? So that's the paradox. That's the paradox that we're looking at. Both these groups claim to be the true Israelites, but they have a common ancestry, biblical ancestry, and belief system. How would you explain that, Byron?
All right, Mr. G-Man,
Yes, sir.
I want to go with the last thing you said, that neither one of them want to mix race, right?
Yes.
Well, then the question that I'd have to ask you, if neither one of them wanted to mix race, then how did Israel leave black and come back white?
Well,
How did Israel leave the
what?
land black? And according to the Jews that's down there now, over a period of time, they mixed and they integrated with each other, and now they are a white race. But
Let me ask you
I'm
this.
a black man from the South. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I get what you're saying, right? But now, if you're looking at just that one bullet point, I'm looking at the whole thing where
No, no.
they're saying that the Anglos are saying, no, that the Israelites migrated into Europe, where
Okay.
the Hebrew Israelites are saying that no, 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 it was through the transatlantic slave trade that the lost tribes got into the West. So that's the paradox
Okay.
I'm looking at.
And right. But no, I just started with that right there, since that was the last thing that you said. That was just like, hold on. If they don't want to mix race, then how did they leave black and come back white? If they don't
Uh,
want to mix race.
Again, that's
That's
not the focus. That may be
all
a offshoot.
right.
That may be a sidebar to this whole thing. But I want to focus on the
Right.
bigger picture, which is the
Okay.
migration pattern of how you can have a group that is so anti-black in the Aryan nation, or anti-Jew, but they claim the same heritage as the Hebrew Israelites, that they are the exclusive people of the Bible.
Okay. Now, you said Deuteronomy 28. What about Leviticus 26? You see, a lot of times, a lot of people, especially Hebrew Israelites, will like to stay away from Leviticus 26 because it shows exactly how bad we are as a people, that is Israel. Because how many times did the Father tell us if we continue to do it, then He would chasten us even 7 times more than He did before? So, with the Anglo Israelites, how were they chastened? And when were they chastened? The only thing they could ever tell you was just the Holocaust. But if he kept on telling you that he was going to keep on chasing you 7 times more, and the Holocaust is the only thing that you can tell us about, then you weren't chasing.
But Byron, you're still missing the point that I'm trying to emphasize, right?
Was that?
But both groups say that after the Assyrian exile, that they were scattered all across the nations, right? And
Okay.
the Hebrew Israelites would say that the transatlantic slave trade was how the lost tribes got into the West, right? Am I correct so far?
Right.
Okay, all right. So
Well,
that's
in
how, if
part
you
of it you
will.
are, but well,
I'm sorry. Say again.
part of it is not. Well, remember when we were in the Assyrian captivity, we never came out of the Assyrian captivity, and the ones that were scattered throughout the nations was Jerusalem and all of Judah. But the ones that were scattered into Assyria are still in Assyria till this day. They haven't come out of Assyria yet. They're still in Assyria till this
Okay.
day.
Which then confounds me. Well, okay, I was trying to go somewhere, but since you said this, it confounds me then why Hebrew Israelites would say that Gentiles refer to Jews who are among the nations, but you're saying they're only in Assyria. But when I speak to,
No,
I'm sorry, I'll give you, I'll give you a chance to speak.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry. Go ahead and get finished.
when I speak to Hebrew Israelites and we speak about, they speak about Gentiles, right? They say no, the Gentiles are the people of the lost tribes who are scattered among the nations, right? That's what they say. And the nations would be other nations other than current day Israel or even Syria or Babylon. That they were scattered all throughout the known world. So when the Bible speaks of that the Gentiles will be brought to salvation, that these are the lost tribes, the lost people who've been scattered throughout the world. But now you are saying now that no, that's not so. The lost tribes stayed in Assyria, and Assyria, I believe, would be current day like Turkey, uh, Turkey, Iraq, that area. But now we have people, we have Hebrew Israelites who are saying no, our people went as far as the Americas. But now you're saying that's not so. There should only be in that region that was Assyria. Correct me
No.
if I'm mistake. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The part that you're mistaken about is when he said that Israel was going to be scattered into all the nations. That means that's the whole house. And that whole house, the main tribe that was scattered throughout the nations was the tribe of Judah. Judah, the whole house of Judah was scattered throughout all the nations. And now that the whole house of Judah has been scattered throughout all the nations, it's just like every other tribe of Israel. We have been plucked up out of our land and replanted into another land. And when we were replanted into that other land, now we become just like that which we have been replanted amongst. I
Okay, now
am Israel. I'm Israel, but I am an American because I'm an American by flesh, but by soul, I'm Israel.
okay. I get what you're saying, but it contradicts what I've been hearing. But okay, but as I said, that was a sidebar. Okay, but
Oh,
where I was trying
wait
to
up, Mr.
get
B
to.
Man. Hold on. Wait up, Mr. B Man. And that's the other thing. I once told y'all I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I've never belonged to a camp. As a matter of fact, I was 3 weeks away from being ordained a Christian pastor
Hmm.
before I before I walked away. And the reason I walked away was because I was in the middle of teaching Bible study, and something stuck out to me. My people that are called by my name. And so I went in search of that name and that people that was called by that name because that's who I wanted to be a part of. But I had to go out and seek that. And me
Okay,
being a Christian, I couldn't find it. And
okay,
I never went to a
I
camp.
got you.
So I don't agree with a lot of the 10 West doctrine. I don't believe and agree with a lot of that stuff that they say.
Okay,
That's
gotcha,
something that
Byron.
somebody
Gotcha.
else may do.
I got you, Byron.
Okay.
So I appreciate your testimony, but what I'm trying to get to is a paradox, and I started to kind of explain it prior that the Arian Israelites believe that they were scattered again to the west into Europe, west and west and north into Europe, and I'm looking at the chart now on the screen that shows that there is a parallel to the belief systems. The only difference is in the racial makeup of the supposed true Israelites. So that's the paradox that I'm trying to resolve. So again, as someone of that belief system, maybe as you said, you're not a Christian, but then you maybe not a true Hebrew Israelite in that sense, but you do believe in the black people who were part of the slave trade, that they are in some ways of the descendants of the 12 tribes. The paradox that I'm trying to ask you as a believer in that system is to explain how can you have the Aryans who believe essentially the same things that you believe, but it's only by a racial division.
It's not by a racial division, it's by the Bible. Anyone can claim to be someone, but when it comes down to proving it, can you prove that you are who you say you are by the scriptures? And how
And
can they prove who they are by the scriptures if they have
and brother,
never gone into captivity to the first one?
brother, I would say
Yes.
I would say the same thing about the Hebrew Israelites. Again, you are
Well,
using a particular
let's go to
passage.
the,
I'm sorry,
but
brother.
let's go to the
We
scriptures.
can't both speak at the same time, and we're not going to speak at the same time. I'll give you a chance to speak, and so allow me that same courtesy. Again, you would say that you have biblical proof of this, and I would say that you would not, because you'll say, well, how they never went into captivity? Well, if you agree that the Israelites went into captivity in Babylon and also by Assyria, then they did go into captivity. Historically, the Jewish nation went into captivity. Certain groups, as the Hebrew Israelites and also as the Arian Israelites, believe that no, there is a racial component to it. And our people, whichever side you choose, are those true Israelites. That's the paradox in which we're facing right now.
Well, for the Anglo, the ones that went into Babylon and Assyria were black. They weren't white.
That's
They,
simply a
they
claim, my
weren't.
brother.
They weren't.
That's simply a claim.
That's but that's what they claim. But according to history, the people there were black people. They weren't white people. According to history, that's history. Even like if they say, well, we went. What about in Egypt? That was black people. That wasn't white people. So
and
once again, that them claiming something, but they can't prove anything that they claim. But then here we as black Israelites, we have to jump through hoop A, hoop B, hoop C, hoop D, hoop E, hoop F, hoop G, every hoop there is. But we don't get the same consideration that the Anglos get that don't bring nothing to the table except the white skin. And I hate to
and
say that because because being from the South, I have white family members. I have a white granddaughter. She's half white. So it's not about the skin color with me. It's about the heart. But everyone else made it about the skin color. Me as a black man, I didn't make it about the skin color. Because if I'd have made it about the skin color, why would I put my color in slavery?
okay, now
Why would I put my color at the bottom?
what I'm saying is it. Okay, go ahead, Captain.
So, okay, so would you put that chart back up, Colin?
Which one?
The one you just took down. I have a fundamental question, trying to, at least in my own mind, trying to understand this. And would you go to the top of the chart there?
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm trying to get. All right.
Okay, okay. Now, Byron, you still there? Or did Byron go? Byron went.
Let me see. Yeah, he's no longer on the stage.
Oh,
I don't know if he left or not,
okay.
but he's
My
no longer
my
on the stage.
fundamental question is this. You see, what I mean, if you look at this right now, I'm not talking about the correctness of whether everything's dotted correctly and all the I's crossed, T crossed. I'm just saying in general terms, and the only person we had on the line that could tell us what his belief system is Byron, who says I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Will ignore the term black. The problem with trying to ignore the term black is that it does come into play when you start speaking about prophets, I mean their futures, because both these belief systems in a group of people based on race being the preferred or the superior or the chosen people that God has chosen to rule, right?
Hey, Captain. Byron is back. So if you wanted to ask him a question, he's
Yeah.
back.
Okay. And so you see, Aryans are talking about what this person, the master race, the Caucasian race, blonde hair, blue eyes. That group of, if you will, Europeans will end as being the superior or the preferred nation. That the other nations that punish them will be subjugated to them. And then if you look over the Hebrew Israelite side, and we're talking about people who would skin like me, they end up as the ones at the end being the favored and chosen, that the nations that subjugated them will be put under their feet. So in the end, one group with very light skin tone and Caucasian, they end up ruling. In the other discipline or the other belief system, people with dark hue and dark skin tone end up being rulers. So race ends up being the thing that is the difference between the two if you look at the belief systems, which seem to be parallel. What I want
Exactly.
to ask Byron is does the comparison that he sees before him, does that even reflect truly what his belief system is? Is this a fair, it's not perfect, but is it a fair representation of what he believes as a Hebrew Israelite?
The fair representation is that yes.
Okay.
At the end, when everything is over, said and done with, the ones that were the servants will now be the masters, and the ones that were the masters will now be the servants. But the thing that the Father always wanted us to learn in our servitude was how to be a master, or how to be that royal priesthood and that royal house that he said that David would be again. And we had to go through what we went through so we could learn humility, so that we could learn how to treat people and how to love and how to understand and how to forgive. So, yeah, even though it's going to be black people that are going to be at the head, but the question is, how will you rule? Because you have to remember in the Bible it does tell us that the tribe of David will have a ruler that will sit as the head of all the nations. So that has to be someone that has a color.
Well, it's not a tribe
No,
of David. It's a tribe of Judah. David comes from Judah, right?
Right.
And
so
who is that child? Who is that child?
Who is that child?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you what the Father has shown me. When the children of Israel was plucked up out of the land and replanted into another land, just because they were plucked up, that didn't mean that soul stopped being who it was when it left out of that land. Because remember, the tribe, whoever's going to sit at the head is going to come from the loins of David. That means he's going to come from the seed of David. So someone that is scattered amongst us is still that seed of David.
Okay, so
we as the children of Israel that have been
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, now we as Christians and biblical scholars, right, believe that seed of David is Jesus Christ, not a mere man, but a man God, again, who is the Messiah, right? That's who we believe, and Scripture shows that that person is. So you're waiting on somebody that came already. It's similar to what the, if you will, the current day Jews, and I know you have a disbelief on that, and I'm not challenging that, but the people who are now saying that the Messiah hasn't come yet, right? But we believe that the Messiah has come, that the King whose rightful scepter it is did come, of the tribe of David, right? Of the lineage of David, of the tribe of Judah. That person came already. So are you saying you're still looking for that person?
Okay. I have just one question. Well, it's two
No, no.
questions, but the
I'm
first
sorry.
question
I'm
is,
sorry. I'm sorry. No, no, no. But
no, no,
my
when I
brother.
ask,
No,
when I
no,
ask you
no.
this question,
Before
wait up, when I ask you,
before you answer a question, before you ask a question, please answer mine. Please answer mine. I'll give you a chance to ask, but I don't want you to overlook mine. My
no,
question
no,
is, are you still
I'm not
so okay?
overlooking yours, B
The
man.
the
Trust me, I'm
the
not overlooking it
the
at
question
all.
on the table then is this: the question on the table is, we believe that the Messiah came already in the person of Jesus Christ. Are you still looking for a Messiah to come? That's the question. I'll answer yours after you answer mine.
This was the thing that I was going to say. If the Messiah has come already, and the Messiah was born of a virgin, but you're saying that he came from the seed of David, he can't come from the seed of David and be born of a virgin at the same time.
Okay, so you're still looking.
So you're still looking for your Messiah to come.
So no, we had the one that was born of a virgin. Emmanuel did come, born of a virgin, but the one that is going to sit in headship of the tribes of Israel is going to be a physical person that is going to serve not only as the king of Israel, but also as the high priest of Israel, because he serves under our God, the God of Israel.
So you await his coming. He hasn't come yet.
Who hasn't come yet?
The
the
Messiah you're
person
just
the
speaking of.
person you the
Our
person
Messiah
that
has
the
come.
person that
Well, our
you just
Messiah
described.
has come. But what G-Man was describing when he said the seed of David is a physical seed. Would you agree?
And yes, I would. And that's again Jesus Christ.
But if that was a physical seed and he was born of a virgin because Mary never knew man's seed, then how could that be Yeshua?
Look at the
I
lineage
understand what
of
you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You're talking. I understand what he's saying. He's saying genetically, if it can't be born of a virgin, have seed from David. In other words, birthed by normal sexual intercourse. He was
but
born of a
Exactly.
virgin, which meant no sexual intercourse was involved. Therefore, no seed from a male. That's what you mean, right?
And also go ahead and look
but
at
that's
the lineage.
minimizing
Because
but that is minimizing the power and the supremacy of God. That God can
oh no, that's not.
hey, brother, come on now, come on. So you're saying that God could not do that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this right
Okay,
here.
so
Let me
so if you're saying that there's something God can do, and there is precedent in the Bible for what's called the kinsman redeemer, right? Someone who is not of that biological child. Okay, in the book of Ruth, right, where Ruth's two sons died, Boaz
Naomi's two sons.
Boaz would now take the place of the former husband of Ruth. So the child born, even though it's of the seed of Boaz, was considered to again carry on that lineage. That is the Jewish custom, right? Which is called the kinsman redeemer. So there's precedence in Scripture that someone could not be the biological offspring or can be, but that child does to the tribe, right? Ruth's child belonged to the tribe. The father, the biological father, was Boaz, but the ancestral father was not Boaz. So there is precedence for that. The same way God, again, if you look at the lineage now of Joseph, Joseph is of the lineage of David. He is not the biological father, but guess what? He's of the tribe of David. So Christ fit the criteria.
Okay. Now, B-Man, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. If he is the son of God, what made him the son of God?
What made him the Son of God? By his
Yeah.
nature. By his nature.
What makes you
Okay,
the son of your father?
because again, he is not of he did not have a human father, right? There was no sperm to create or to bring this person into existence. It was by the will of God. That's what makes him the Son of God. He is of the same essence of God. He's not of the same essence as, let's say, of Joseph. He was 100% human,
Okay.
yes. He was 100% human, yes. But his essence is of the Almighty because it's the Holy Spirit who came upon her and overshadowed her. It was not Joseph.
Can I explain something right quick? The reason I asked you that question was this right here. You are the son of your father. What makes you the son of your father is your soul. That's what makes
Hmm.
you the son of your father. But what made my Savior the son of the living God was that soul or that spirit that was in him. That's what made him the son of God, because that was Emmanuel walking amongst us. You see,
So what
everybody
makes him
wants to look
Emmanuel then?
at. Wait up.
What?
Let me go ahead and let me finish explaining it to you. Everybody wants to look at the flesh, but they forget about this one thing. He that serves me or worship me must worship me how? In spirit and in truth. Emmanuel is that word that is who? That is that counselor. That is that wonderful. That is that mighty God. That is that
Listen,
everlasting Father. And then he is this. He's that Prince of Peace that sits between his Father and the children of Israel as that counselor.
brother,
That's why he was our
what makes
God
him
walking amongst us,
what makes him Emmanuel? Right?
because he is the word that was born up to the children of Israel.
No,
Whenever
no,
you
no,
look at
no,
the Old Testament,
no, brother, no, no, no. I will give you a chance, but I'm not gonna let you just run on like that. The word Emmanuel simply means it's God with us. That's what the word means, God, the everlasting one. Yahweh is with us in flesh. That's who Jesus Christ was. He was not just a human being. Yes, he was human, but again, him being Emmanuel, he was the creator of the universe who took on human flesh. So you're asking what makes him the Son of God? It's just that his very essence makes him the Son of God. The same way, again, he is the Son of Man, meaning that he is the one that was described in Daniel chapter 7. And we're actually getting off topic because again, I'm trying to look at the paradox. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. You're asking good and proper questions, but again, it's taking us off of the subject at hand, which is the paradox between these two belief systems.
but
Okay,
B-Man, before we go on, I just got to ask one thing. I just got to say
sure.
one thing. How can he be the king and be the prince?
What?
If Melchizedek is the king of Salem or the king of peace, then how is Emmanuel the prince of peace if he is not his son? Because a
The,
prince is the son of a king.
Every
go ahead, Captain. Go ahead, Captain.
every king starts out as a prince.
But
Right.
uh,
But by
but
the time
there's also a deeper
That's the
theological.
came
answer.
around,
Well, the answer is every king starts out as a prince. When he begins to rule, he's a king. Before he begins to rule, he's a prince. And
so
when that king begins to rule, he's still a prince.
But
So
so
at
you
the same
telling
time,
me
he's
that
still
the
the
most
same
high
prince.
God. So you're telling me that the most high God is a prince.
The Most High God?
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
what
the Most
you
High
said.
God is the king. The Most High God is the king. But in
Okay,
particular, right
wait
now,
a second.
So if the Most High
Time
God
out.
is the king, then
Time
who
out,
is the
please.
prince?
Time out. Time
his
out.
son.
Time
Thank
out.
you.
Time
Who
out.
is his son?
We call him
I'm
Jesus.
sorry.
We call him Jesus. What do you call him?
Am I still in
Okay.
timeout, or I can say something?
No, I was trying to. I was trying for us to speak one at a time.
Yeah.
Right. I was trying for us to speak one at a time. Okay. Okay. Now, as
That
far
was
as
good.
I'm sorry.
I said that was a good laugh.
That was good. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I
Because
appreciate
Mark was
that.
about to tell me real hard, real hard.
I appreciate that one.
Okay. So again, that's the good side issue, but I want to get back to the paradox. Okay.
And so let me jump in to say where we are, and maybe from whence we've come. We have a comparison chart that talks about belief systems of Arian Anglo Israelites and, if you will, for the sake of our discussion, Black Hebrew Israelites. They end in one race being and it's like as even as Byron has alluded to, one is the becomes the dominant one because they were subservient, and now that the thing is flipped to where now they're the dominant one. White people, these Aryans believe it'll be them. Hebrew Israelite believe it'll be them, and at the end, I mean, and that paradox is difficult to solve because both of these belief systems cannot be true.
Exactly. Yeah.
The difficulty here is somebody's right, somebody's wrong, or could it be actually possible that people who are drawing belief system from the same source, they could be barking up the wrong tree and come up with results that are reflective of barking up the wrong tree? What if the answer is neither the black folk or the white folk? Neither one of us end up in dominance. What if that's true? So
Right.
because you can't, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to try to make when people are drawing from the same source, saying I'm right. Other group says I'm drawing from the same source and I'm right. And history says this about me. History says this about me. Somebody is right, or could it be both of them are wrong?
You're wrong. Exactly. Exactly. Because if you're looking at something simply by race, when there, and again, the Aryans and also the Hebrew Israelites will make the entire Bible racial. Will make it so because it suits their position. When you have so many passages, right, where God says, if my people, right, will humble themselves and pray. He's not saying my black people, my white people. He's saying if those people who are identified as being belonging to me, regardless if you're male, female, black, white, Indian, Chinese, or whatever, if my people. But now we have these two claims now that cuts from the same source, but they diverge racially. Look at the screen, man. Right? They both claim to be of Israelite descendants. One says, "Oh, it's white Europeans." The other one says, "No, it's Africans." Right? One says, "No, we have a covenant with God." Aaron said, "No, and the promises only belong to white Europeans." The Israelites said, "No, the promise belongs simply to the black race." Right? It's it's a conundrum when if you look at biblical history, right? The Bible does not divide people by race. It divides people by belief in God and non-belief in God. But for some reason, to suit their theology, these two groups have to make it racial. They must, to prove their superiority, or that in the coming age that they will be the people who will rule over. And you know what, that is attractive to people who have been disenfranchised, who have been brutalized and murdered and raped. It is it is enticing to say, yes, in the age to come we will rule over these people who abused us. but we'll do it more humanely. Except for the one of us who believe, yeah, we're going to beat the backs off these people, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. But no, that's not what the Bible teaches. So I want you guys as Hebrew Israelites to help to solve this paradox because, like it or not, it's there. You can say all you want to that they are cherry picking, and there's no historical or biblical evidence for what they're saying. But guess what, brother? Same thing applies to you.
Oh,
There's no genealogy. There's no history that would predate your people, our people, to be the people of the Bible. There's none.
oh, hold on. Now, got a question for you. I got a question for B-Man. B-Man, to
Yes,
say that
sir.
you're trying to get to say that you're trying to get clarity, it seems like you're already clear on your point and where you want to stand at. I just want to go ahead and say that.
Well, yes, yes. I am firm on the Bible that God is not a racist God. Yes.
Okay, I'm just saying. So now back to your chart. Identity replacement. Number 3 teaches
Yeah.
that Jews are imposters, often calling them Edomites and Khazars. That's what the Aryans teach.
Yes.
Now, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, but that ain't the Aryans or the Ku Klux Klan that I know. Ku Klux Klan hate Jews, period.
Yes.
The
Why do they
Aryans
hate them?
hate Jews, period.
Why do they hate them? Because they believe that they are the true Israelites. That these people have taken their ancestral rights. If you go back
That
to
is not
again,
why.
brother,
That's
go
not why
back to
they
the
hate them. That's
source.
because both of them are white.
Go back to the source. The same way again, you are looking right now. Okay, that's like looking at the Hebrew Israelites in general and saying, "Oh, y'all all believe like one West." That's what you're essentially saying when you're saying Ku Klux Klan. There are more groups out there, and by no means am I trying to associate any Hebrew Israelites with any particular hate group or supremacist group. But I'm saying it's the same mindset, right? I cannot say about you that you are of the one West variety because you believe this. But now you're
You are
saying,
missing the
well,
point.
all Aryans or all Aryans then believe like the KKK. No,
You're
go back
missing.
to the
You're
source.
wait up. All Aryans are Nazis. Nazis did what to the Jews?
You are not
What
getting
did
it.
the Nazis do to the Jews?
You're not hearing what I'm saying, brother. You're not hearing what I'm saying,
I'm
right?
hearing what you're
There,
saying, but are you
there
hearing what
are
you're saying?
okay. Tell me what am I saying then?
You're saying that just because they say that some of them are Nazis, not all of them are Nazis. Not all of them see the same, and not all of them think the same way.
That's
Is
not what
that
I'm
what you're
saying at
saying?
all. That's not what I'm
Okay,
saying at
what you're
all.
saying?
I'm saying the same way that you as a Hebrew Israelite don't want to be let's say put into the same barrel as let's say the One West or another camp, right? But you're now using the Ku Klux Klan because they're Aryans to then lump all Aryans into one basket. I'm saying the belief system, right, that the Aryan nation is of the tribes of Israel comes from the same source as the Hebrew Israelites who said that they are the children of the tribes of the lost tribes. It's the same basket. It's just that one
If
believe that the route to get there, if you would trace it back and name any Hebrew Israelite, name any Aryan, if you trace it back, it's going to be one group came through Europe, one group came through the black race. That's all I'm saying. But
okay,
you can't.
that
But
group, the group that came through Europe, where did they originate from?
the same place, and someone can ask you the same thing. The group that came through, the slave trade, where they come from.
Wait up. If they say that they came from Israel and they are white and they're talking about the white is the pure race, then they can't have come from Israel. They couldn't have came from nowhere in the Middle East, nowhere from Africa, because that's all a part of Israel. So how is it that you're still saying that it's the same?
because you are now saying, okay, because they live in a certain region, right, that they have to be of a particular ethnic group, which is a fallacy. Okay, I'm not saying that. Listen to me closely. Listen to me closely. I'm not saying that the people of that region historically were white Anglos. I'm not saying the people of that region historically were Africans. They were people of color,
Historically,
yes.
they were.
But brother, listen to what I'm saying. If you look at the historical documents, if you look at the genealogy of the time, they were not black like you and I, right? They were Semitic people, if you will. They were more brown skinned than dark skinned, right? They were not Caucasians, neither they were like us. But now you are saying that because of the pigmentation that we have, that we are those people. I'm not saying that. The same way I wouldn't look at an Aryan and say that you are the people of that region, because you're not. There
I
is
have a
a
question for
certain
you, B-Man.
pigmentation. There's a certain pigmentation that will be associated with that area. And again, through the mixing of races, again, because God is not a racist, he does allow for people of different races to mix. And guess what? God loves varieties. That's why we're all of different hues, right?
B-Man, can I ask you, why you fight so hard against the black man being Israel?
I'm not fighting against it, brother, but I'm not so dogmatic to believe again, because right now,
Even, even Mark had to laugh on that because every time I give you a point, you come back and give me something about historically and this, that, and another, but
yes,
you can't
because
never give me
brother, because
anything.
it's
Give me,
evidence. Brother, you have to go
show
with
me
the
something.
evidence. Brother,
Show me
brother, look,
something biblically that brings them back to it.
brother, look. I don't care if the people
You
of
see, there
the
you go again.
can you listen to what I'm saying? I don't care if the people of that region were polka dot. I don't care if they were black, white, whatever. I'm saying if you're going to make that claim, there ought to be some evidence by genealogy, right? By there are many scientific ways, and I'm not putting science above, but right now we have that technology to look into a person's ancestry to say, okay, what region of the world are you from, right? We can look at historical documentation, right, to say, okay, people went from this region to this region. There are scientific methods to use to gain some evidence. That's what I'm saying. The evidence does not support their position, nor does it support yours.
Uh, See, and that was actually the reason why, I had to laugh at this, because actually what both of us are thinking is that if we, Byron, if we had an Arian Anglo Israelite on this line, and then we had Byron on the line, you know what we would be? We we'd be both trying to split our brains to try to get the white man and the black man to understand that the savior of the universe he didn't do it based on race. And the only real distinction that Yeshua made when it came to who would be in his family was faith. He says,
Brother
look,
Mark.
he says, look, man, I want you, you're focusing on my skin tone, my lips and my nose and my hair. And the other person's focusing on his eyes and his hair and his nose and his skin tone, saying that mine is superior to yours. And neither one of us are right about that. But what is right for us, the God of the universe who created us, is that he made us with different hues, yes, to look at those hues and instead of hating one another, to understand the variety was God meant and God ordained, and to pull us all to have this variety in his family. And the only designation was, do you believe me or do you not? Not our hue, or our noses, or our hair, but do you express faith in the person he sent, the Son of God who he sent, who died to provide salvation for anyone who would believe, the Jew first, also to the Gentile. And there's neither difference between Jew or Gentile anymore. The difference is a faith-based thing. Either you're trusting in Yeshua or you don't trust him. And all of those people from every race will be in that family, because the only real separation is, do you believe or do you not? But
Amen.
we have made, but groups, the Aryans have made their skin tone their designation that we will one day rule this world. And now here we are with skin like mine. Black people are saying, no, you won't. You subjugated people. You will be ruled by us. Because we, and it's true, I do admit and do clearly accept the fact that as people with skin like us, we have been so subjugated and so ill-treated that the Holocaust that is talked about, nobody ever wants to look at the Holocaust that we are still enduring. That's very close to my heart and true. However, and I don't want to ignore that or mess with it by saying, however, I'm going to say right along with that. When Yeshua was on this planet, he is dying for the sins of everyone who would believe. And the only real designation to be in a relationship with him is, do you believe what he did? And it's interesting that we can disagree and argue and be very dogmatic about our differences. And we won't look at this person who died and say, do we believe him or not? Me and my brother are tell the light-skinned person and the dark-skinned person that Jesus is our focus, and he is our identity. And despite the fact of how that Caucasian person has treated me and my family and the race that I'm a part of, if he trusts Christ as his Savior, and I trust Christ as my Savior, and that belief is real and genuine, and it's on that Jesus, on Yeshua, he is my brother, and that's irrespective of what his skin tone looks like.
Yes, sir.
And I'll stop there.
All right. Can I say something now?
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
As far as I'm concerned, you can.
All right. Now, when B-Man said that there's no genetic proof, I believe you said no genetic proof or anything to back up anyone's point.
Okay.
In the book of Genesis, it says that
let me clarify
the seed of Abraham. Okay, let me go ahead and say.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you an opportunity, right? But I'm going to clarify something. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you or I or Captain Mark or someone else cannot trace their lineage back and find, yeah, I do have some ancestry in Israel. I'm not saying no one can, but the claim that en masse all of the Europeans can trace their lineage back, it's not there. The claim that all Africans can trace their lineage back is not there. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But that's the thing, though. Not every black man that's black is Israel. Not every white man that's white is who they say they are either. We all have a heritage, a tribe, and a nation that we belong to. And that's why in the beginning he said, Abraham, your seed will be scattered amongst all the nations, right? When I did my DNA, I came up scattered among 16 different nations. So much so until I even have Ashkenazi Jew, Germanic, European, Danish, Scotch. And if you look at me, hell, I'm black. But my seed was still scattered amongst all the other nations. When you look at the Anglo Israelites, even the ones in Israel today, their ancestry and their DNA chart only goes to one place, and that's Europe. So how is it that me, a black man in Louisiana,
not true,
have been scattered? Why can't they do a DNA test in Israel?
I can't explain why a particular nation wouldn't do something.
They have to get permission from the government to do a DNA test.
But you are still making certain claims. Okay, so you have said that you as a black person, you have ancestry in Denmark and so on and so on. So what about the white person who has that same, if you will, genetic marker, but also have it in the Middle East? Could that person who would be classified to be an Edomite by some in the Hebrew Israelite, would that person be considered to be an Edomite or Israelite?
Does that same person also have genetics in Africa?
Yeah.
In the United States?
I'm sorry?
Throughout Europe. Also have England and France. I have just about every nation in my DNA. And if you do yours also, you probably find the same thing.
I've done mine. But the question is this.
Amongst the nations.
The question is this: we're speaking now about genetics, and you have said that you have from all these places. So again, what I'm asking is, would a quote unquote Edomite who's from Europe, who have those same markers, now your 21andMe, or I'm not sure which one you did, it's going to say you're 5% in this, you're 7% in this, you're 23%. So it gives you a breakdown percentage wise as to what region of the world you're from. So you can be claiming, let's say 30% from West Africa, and you could be claiming a 1% from the Middle East, right? Which would put you in the region of Israel. But that's a very small percentage. But then if you go over to the other side now, if you go over to the European, they may have maybe a 3% that is of that region, higher than yours. I'm not saying that
What a
disqualifies you,
3% of
but
your group.
but brother, my question is, does that disqualify them?
Yes.
Even though they may
And
have a
simply
high
because
percentage, even though they may have
of
a
what?
higher percentage from that region.
Of being from Europe, that's where they originated from.
I
They
said
were
the
not
region of
Semitic
I said
people.
of the region of the Middle East. I specifically
Okay.
said the
Brother,
region of the Middle East.
You show me an Anglo Jew
I
that's
cannot,
gonna come back.
brother. I
Yeah.
did look, man. We are making certain assertions right now, right? You have done your DNA. I'm sure in your ancestry, it may say something like 1% possibility of being from the Middle East or something like that, right? And it's going to show a higher percentage of you being from West Africa, uh, up to maybe 70%, because it may say Nigeria, Ghana, but basically West Africa. You may have 1% Ashkenazi. You may have 1% Denmark. You may have, right? You may have 1% from the Middle East or somewhere, right? But the majority is going to be from West Africa. Now, the question I'm asking you is, a European who have a majority also of his DNA from Europe, but a higher percentage from the Middle East, right? Where your percentage may be one, his percentage may be three, higher than 3 times higher than yours. Does that disqualify that person from being possibly of the Israelite race or tribal affiliation?
Well, first thing we got to understand, B man, is that when you look at the maps, especially the slave
You're
maps
not
back
answering my
in the
question,
day,
man.
I'm answering your question. You're talking about the Middle East, but when you look at the slave maps back in the day, the kingdom of Judah,
You're
which
not
you call
answering
the
my
West
question.
Coast,
You're
that's what the
not.
slave. That's where the slaves
You're
came
not,
from.
brother.
So I am
Respectfully,
answering your question. You're
I'm
giving me the
asking you.
hypothetical.
I'm asking you a straight up question. No. I'm asking you a straight up question. All about percentage. You don't have to go into the history. I'm asking a straight up question, right? It doesn't take all this historical, mumbo jumbo. I'm
It's a math.
asking you, if a person, you as a Hebrew Israelite, have 1% in your ancestry, in your DNA from that region, and you say, yes, I am an Israelite. I'm asking you now, because of this paradox, if if a white person have 3%, 3 times more than you in his DNA from that region, does that exclude him from being possibly of the lineage of the tribe of Israel?
The way you form the question, I can't answer that question honestly, because you're gonna say there's a reason. Wait up, no, there's a reason I can't answer that question because his whole makeup is European, but my whole
Brother,
makeup is Semitic. So
no,
you're
no.
giving him 3%, but everything else about him is European, and
Brother,
everything else about
I
me is
am
Semitic,
I
except
am
for what?
truly giving
1%?
you I'm truly giving you an example that is real.
I can't
Giving you
answer
an
that.
example that is real.
I,
No,
I can't answer
it-
that.
but see now, here is the true answer to that. If you are claiming 1%, right, and that I am a Jew based on 1%, you must then, if you're being fair
Hmm.
and intellectually honest, you must say, well, that person who has 3% could also be from the same tribe or from that same region. Now, I'm not saying that is so. It is a question I'm asking you to test your honesty. If you have
Well,
1%, I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna give you a chance to maybe recant if you so choose. If you have 1%, right? If you have 1% and you're saying, yes, that makes me of that area, so I'm of that nation of people, but somebody else who have the totally opposite skin tone as you have 3%, does that person have the same claim as you? If you're being intellectually honest, the answer is
if
simple.
I'm basing it off of what you're saying, yes, even if he just had 1%, if he can still show that 1% as being that true 1%, and I'm saying my 1% is good, then yes,
Captain,
his 1% is good
Captain,
also.
didn't he just say that he couldn't answer it? Didn't he just say that?
He did say that, but then
No,
he did
hold
answer
on.
it.
But wait up,
Yeah,
I sat down and I was looking at what you were saying, and I
yeah.
went past the angle, the white part and the black part, and I just looked at what you said when you said the region. You
Because
see, at first you were saying
you are
Anglo
biased.
or European. You were saying
Because
European. No, it's
you are
not that I'm
biased.
biased. Wait up. Hold on. It's not
Because
that I'm
you are
biased.
biased.
Hold on. It's not that I'm biased. You want us not to look at race or anything else. And when I don't look at race, then you tell me I'm biased. When I look at
No,
race, then you tell me I'm
brother,
racist. Which one am I?
we're all biased in certain way. I'm biased against people who say that they take the Bible and chop it up to suit their theology. I'm biased against that, and I can admit that, right? The same way you as an Israelite must say, yes, I'm biased based on my belief system. It's not a bad thing to admit. I'm not saying because that you're racist, but we're having a
I'm
conversation.
biased based on the Bible. That's what I'm biased on. I'm biased based on the Bible. And the whole time we have been talking, I've asked one question. What Anglo Israelite, where can they show any ties to the Bible? Any ties to where the children of Israel to show who they are according to the Bible? Where?
Again, the Bible does not designate people by race. That's the whole point I've been trying to make. That's the paradox that
Okay.
we're in right now. That
Well,
is a
show me
paradox
where
that
the Bible say anything about that region being the children of Israel.
show you what?
Show me anything about Europe being where the children of Israel are from.
Show me anything in the Bible that says West Africa is is of Israel. Show me in the Bible.
When, hold on, when Abraham left out of Egypt, what direction did he go? And where is Egypt? Egypt is in Africa.
Abraham didn't leave out of Egypt.
You sure?
He went down. He left
No,
from Ur. He
yeah,
went
he was
down into Egypt.
Earl the
And wait up,
Chaldeans, which
wait up.
is
When
modern day Iraq
Abraham,
and Babylon.
you sure
Yeah,
Abraham did not leave out of Egypt at no time?
No,
no,
no, he
no, he left out of Earl the Chaldeans.
yes,
You
and then he
know
Wait
went
up,
that.
hold
That's
up,
down.
wood.
He
That's right out of the book of Genesis. You know
wait
that.
up.
brother, yeah,
Actually, Abraham
he
left
went into Egypt twice. He went into Egypt twice
when Abraham left,
because there were famines,
he came.
right?
But wait up,
We're talking
when Abraham
Abraham
left,
now. Abraham.
hold up. When Abraham left the first time, he left. His father took him out of Ur of the Chaldeans, and when
That's
his
where his
So
father
home. That's
died,
his, that's his
Abraham,
ancestral home. That's where his people were from.
huh?
Earl the Chaldeans.
And then when his father died, then that's when the father called him away from Haran and told him to go and he'll make a great nation of him.
Mm-hmm. But that
And
wasn't
then
Egypt.
when Abraham and Lot separated, which way did Abraham go? Where did they separate from? And which way did Lot go?
You know where Lot
Abra-
went? Lot went to the cities of the plains, which are now be called back then was Sodom and
What
Gomorrah in that zone.
good direction? Lot went to
um,
the east, right?
Abraham went into what was then now called the Promised Land.
And where was that at?
That was in, if you will, Jordan, uh,
Middle
Israel.
East, man. It's the Middle
Yeah,
East.
the Middle East.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I don't agree with y'all on that one at all.
That's
But
okay.
that'll be for another day and another time.
That's okay. That's okay.
Because we're still on the one that we're talking about the paradox
Yes.
of
And
salvation.
The paradox
still hasn't been answered. It hadn't been really dealt with.
Because you have two people that will never agree on who ends up prophetically in the preferred or the chosen nation, diametrically opposed to each other, but making the same claims as to their origins and their belief systems. They cancel each other out because they both say you're wrong, and they both have diametrically opposite prophetic futures.
Okay, Brother Mark,
how can both groups be right?
Okay, Captain Mark, do you do research like looking at the history you and B man?
I do, but let me finish answering your question. I do, but I will tell you this. I will tell you, I plead ignorance on knowing anything about the existence of the Arian nations making the same claims as Hebrew Israelites. That blowed me. I had no idea that the same claims were being made and the same scriptures were being utilized with two peoples that are absolutely opposing each other. That I didn't know anything about that, so
that's why I'm trying to listen. And this is not new. This belief and this paradox is not new. The Arians actually started.
This was the thing that I want.
Go ahead, Byron.
Are the Arians Greek or Roman? Are the Arians Greek or Roman?
Europeans.
That would mean they could be both. Romans conquered the Greeks, so
they could be both, right? So if they could be both.
Hey Byron, I'm sorry.
So Byron, they could be one of both, right? So they could even be Byron. On the statue of that Daniel.
Byron, time out, Byron. Time out.
Okay.
Time out.
Can you hear me better now?
Your audio is choppy. It's going in and out.
You want to unmute.
Yeah. Your audio is cutting in, cutting out.
He's back on. Hey Byron, you there?
I have to leave.
Oh man, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll still be here. If you have to leave and come back, we'll still be here. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the paradox is still there, man. The paradox. You can't have two groups that are so diametrically opposed with using the same scripture as the foundations for their belief. And the thing, though, is that the Arians' belief came first. It was first really being talked about in the 1700s. That's around the time of Columbus, right? And then it got more formalized in the late 1800s, right? 19th century, early 19th century. That's when the Hebrew Israelites came on the scene. So the Arian Israelites were there first. That belief system was there first.
Well, I'm gonna put it to you this way about that, because I've had an immediate thought. The oppressed people. I mean, you think about who writes history. The people who write history are the conquerors. The people who write history are the ones that are in dominance. It's very likely to me, in my thinking about this, that in fact they did not come first, but they wrote as though their documentation you see first, because they were not the ones being oppressed in this nation. We were brought to this nation to be slaves and chattel slavery. We didn't know how to read or write. Our culture was stripped away from us, and we couldn't document. There was nothing that we could have documented. We didn't have the capacity to document, and they made sure we did not, stripped us away of our culture. So it's very likely that there were belief systems going on, but it took us a while, the people with skin like us, a while to be able to document or be able to write down things, because simply we were the ones being oppressed. The
Right.
oppressor wrote first, like as often happens. The oppressor wrote his stuff down, and then and it seemed like they were ahead of us. But I believe that back in the day, the Europeans, a lot of stuff that happened to Europeans, people with skin like us. You know, the nations that were dominant in history, it's the Egyptian Empire, it's the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, and Daniel's statue, right? Not too much talking about Europeans and any of that stuff, because actually the old world did not include what is modern day Europe at that time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So these guys, the Anglo was late coming in his activity, but he was so ravenous on conquest that when he writes history, the conqueror is the one that wrote the history. So,
Right. But now, why would you have in, let's say, the 1600s, 16 to 1700s, right? Someone, starting to pen this. Now, by what you're saying is like, well, they wrote the history, but what would be the purpose of them even before the Jewish Holocaust and all this kind of stuff, right? Why would they start to have that belief system?
it's interesting. I think it's because of the claim they're making. Because
Mhm.
we want to latch onto this thing. It's interesting to me that the Aryans hate Jews but love Jesus.
Right.
Anyway,
They
I'm sorry.
they hate Jews because, okay, if it started here in the 16 to 1700s, right? That it was a speculation, right? That the Anglo-Saxons were descendants from the 12 tribes. Then, if you look over here, 1840, John Wilson began to popularize this theory, and then in the 18th, see, it's given names, right? Edward Hines, and of course you have into the late 1800s and I'm sorry, late 1800s and early 1900s. In the 20th century, of course, they now became more extremist. That was when you had the rise of the Ku Klux Klan and all, where it jumped from Europe over to America. Because it began in Europe, of course, with the slave trade, it jumped over to America, and of course you had Jim Crow, you had all that. That's when
Mhm.
they began to be more extremist, right? And then of course they transformed into the Aryan nations of today. But if you look back into their belief system, this is where it began with Anglo Israel Israelitism, that they were the people of the Bible, and those folks over there, they co-opted that, and so that's where a lot of the anti Semitism came from.
See, I'll tell you what. I don't know how this information. I think is very valuable. What I would say about this is, it seems like, and I get the feeling right now that it's like I read history books, and like when we were in school, we read the history. Like you're giving me this, right? You're teaching me that this is what's happening, right? And
Hmm.
I'm supposed to take this as being valid, not understanding that there's a whole section of history that I'm not even being exposed to, that is the African American side of that story that has never been told. And just like right now, I'm finding out stuff about my history in America that I never knew about because nobody told us.
Right.
They make so I'm taking what you're saying based on what you discovered here, but I do know there's got to be more information here, and our story has never really been completely told.
Of
So
course not. Yeah.
it's like I accept that, but I bet there's got to be some documents somewhere. There's got to be some documentation beyond the 1900s about where
Mm.
we start thinking that maybe we're the ones.
I'm gonna
wonder.
send you a clip.
I wonder about that.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go for it,
And
man.
this is on the spiritual side of Egypt and Babylon. In the book of Jeremiah, when the children of Israel went into Egypt, And the father told Jeremiah to put some stones in the doorpost of the gate as a representation of the children of Israel. He said, because the king of Babylon is going to come and take his royal pavilion and sit it on top of the stones, because he has conquered Egypt, the people of Egypt, Israel, and their gods. This is the question that I would have to ask, what I'd have to go ahead and ask y'all. If the Bible is a history book, there should be somewhere where Babylon has conquered Egypt in our history. Would you agree?
Actually, I think Assyria conquered Egypt, because the flow went from Egypt to Assyria. And then Babylon conquered Assyria, and then Medo-Persia conquered Babylon, and then Greeks
And then
conquered
the Roman Empire,
went that way.
Persian, and then the Romans.
Yeah.
But wait up.
So,
look at what the Bible said about Jeremiah and the royal pavilion and who is going to be sitting on top of Egypt. The representation for the god of Egypt is the obelisk. Would you agree?
was it what?
The Egyptian obelisk.
Okay. I don't really have a problem with that. I don't know that for sure, though. You know, you're teaching me now. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, in the Vatican, why is the Christian cross sitting on top of an Egyptian obelisk that is sitting on a wheel?
What? What did?
The reason I said all that
I
is
don't see the significance of that. I don't.
Because Babylon has conquered Egypt. The symbol for Babylon is a cross.
No, says who? The Hebrew Israelites, of course.
Wait a minute. Okay.
It's a circular argument. It's a circular argument.
Hold on. I'll give you another example of it. In the book, it also tells us that the children of Israel bodies will be scattered amongst their idols.
Byron, respectfully, man. Byron, respectfully.
I understand. Let me finish what I'm going to say, then you can go ahead and say what you want. When a man dies and he goes into a graveyard, isn't he buried amongst what? Idols. He's buried amongst the cross, and most of the time an Egyptian obelisk right next to it. But don't believe what I'm saying. Look at it for yourself. Just saying.
Okay.
The Bible tells you everything that's going to happen.
That is a circular argument based on your belief system. Because now, okay, as a Hebrew Israelite, or I would say as an Israelite, you don't like for us to denigrate your belief, but you have no problem denigrating mine by calling.
I didn't denigrate no belief.
Let me finish. By calling the symbol by which we identify the death, burial, and resurrection of our Lord as an idol. So you have no problem doing that to us and expect us to sit here and take it. But if I were to call you a black Hebrew Israelite, all of a sudden that's offensive to you. Or to, I'm not saying you. Again, listen to the argument I'm making, and not the words I'm using. Listen to the argument I'm making. How easy it is for you to castigate me as a Christian by calling the symbol by which I look upon to say this is what my Lord and Savior did for me, the cross, and you call that an idol. You have no problem denigrating me as a believer like that. But if I was to use a term that's derogatory towards your belief system, you jump up and down like, oh my goodness, you're being disingenuous, you're being this and you, but you got no problem doing that to me, do you? Well, I take offense at your circular argument by saying if you go into a graveyard, you will see idols in the shape of a cross. That's offensive to me. So I would like for you as a Hebrew Israelite to retract that. I'm saying because when we may use a term that's offensive to you, you would ask us to apologize and not do it again. So I'm asking you for the same courtesy and respect.
The cross is formed and fashioned by man's hands as a symbol of your God. So in the biblical terms, that is called a what? A idol.
Again,
I'm sorry. That's what the Bible calls it.
It's not a symbol of our God.
Exactly.
That's what
It's
B-Man just said.
that's not what
B-Man
I
said that
said.
is a
That's not what I
symbol of
said,
their
brother.
God.
You're not
I'm
listening.
sorry.
I said it's a
It's a
symbol.
symbol of what?
I'll say it once more. It's a symbol of my belief about what Christ did on the cross for us. That's what I said. What Christ
A
did on the
symbol of
cross
your
for us.
God.
No, it's
Right?
not a symbol. It's not a symbol of our God.
You see,
But
you see,
regardless,
again,
that's
you
what the
take
Bible
it,
says,
you
though.
take it to a point where that's what your belief would have you say about us. But if we were to do the same thing to you, you'd be offended and ask us to apologize and to recant. Because again,
But
what's offensive to you, it's okay if we as believers prostrate ourselves and apologize to you for offending you. But when you offend us, we should take it and not ask for the same thing.
wait up, brother. How did I offend you when I gave you something that the Bible says?
Because
In a
okay,
graveyard,
okay,
what
okay,
is in a
okay. Then show me in the Bible where it says that a cross is a sign of Babylon.
Wait up. We went from I
Show
said,
me in the Bible
wait up,
where,
wait,
because
hold on.
that was your assertion. I'm not going to let you jump out of the fire. I'm not going to let you jump out of the fire. Show me
Wait
in the
up,
Bible, brother.
when
No,
I
show me
said,
in the Bible.
hold on. Let me finish.
No,
Let me
no,
go ahead and
no,
tell you
no,
what I said. I said this right
no,
here.
no. Show me in the Bible where the cross is a symbol of Babylon. That's what you said. That's what was offensive to me. I'm asking you now. Show me in the Bible where the cross is a symbol of Babylon. Since you said it's in the Bible, go ahead.
What sits on top of the Egyptian obelisk in the Vatican?
Show me in the Bible, brother. That's what you said. Show
What
me in the
sits on
Bible.
top of the Egyptian obelisk?
Show me in the Bible.
When
You
something
quoted
has been
Jeremiah,
conquered, that which
brother.
conquered sits on top of it.
You quoted Jeremiah. I'm asking you to show me in the Bible where it says specifically the cross is a sign of Babylon. If not, then apologize.
I'm not going to apologize.
Then show me in the Bible.
For what?
Then show me in the Bible.
I'm telling you what the Bible says, and I'm telling you
Show
to
me
go out
in the
and look
Bible,
at what
brother.
it says.
If the Bible says so, show me in the
And
Bible.
then
If the Bible says
the
so,
Bible also tells us to
if
be
the
quick
Bible,
to listen, slow to speak, and even slower to react.
brother, if the Bible says so, all I'm asking you to do is show me in the Bible. You pull up Jeremiah, you quoted a passage, then you associated that passage with my belief. I found that offensive. I'm asking you now, show me in the Bible specific passage where it says that the cross is a symbol of Babylon.
I associated that passage with what it was showing.
Show
That's what
me
I
in the
associated.
Bible. Show me. You
And if
quoted a
you
passage
don't see
and
it,
used that
I'm
passage
sorry.
to associate it with the cross. I'm asking you
If
now,
you don't see
show
it,
me
I'm
in the Bible where
sorry.
it says specifically
But
that the
if you
cross
don't,
is a symbol of
B-Man,
Babylon.
if you don't
I'm giving
see
you
it, I'm
one
sorry, but
more
I'm not
chance.
perfect telling you the truth.
I'm giving you one more chance. Show me in the
You can go
Bible.
ahead and
Give
cut
me a
me.
passage.
You can go ahead and cut me off.
Give me a
You cut me off.
passage. You quoted me, Jeremiah, right? And
B-Man, you
you
can go ahead and cut
associated
me
that
off.
with all I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Show me in the Bible
And
where you have.
what is so offensive of what I said? What is so offensive?
Show me in the Bible
No, what is so offensive
where,
of what I
because
said?
again, you have
Where
used a
you're acting
symbol.
the way
Okay,
you're acting now.
you see this?
You done got
You
all
see this? Go, hang on, hang
I've
on.
been saw
I,
that. I've been
I
saw
have
it.
this. I have this here for a reason, right?
What?
This symbolizes my belief. This symbolizes my belief, right? You call this an idol. It's not an idol. It's because again, there's no image on this. It symbolizes my
From the
belief.
way
But
you saying it,
but
your
brother,
faith is in that cross.
brother. No, no,
Your
no.
faith is in that
As I
cross.
said, it symbolizes my belief system. My faith is not in it.
Exactly.
But
So you need a symbol to represent your
brother,
belief.
brother. Again, all right.
No, we
So
actually don't need a symbol to represent our beliefs. We
right,
have
but
one.
we have
We don't.
yes.
We have one, but we don't
The
need.
point I've been trying to make, Byron, is again, has as an Israelite, you do not like it when certain things are said about your belief system. I don't like it what you said about my belief system. That is an idol. That was offensive to me. I'm asking you as a brother. I'm asking you as a brother in faith. I'm asking you as a brother to have a conducive and a polite conversation. I find this offensive. Will you apologize or recant what you said about the symbol of my faith being an idol?
But wait up, you're going against what Brother Mark just said. You're saying something
I'm
totally
speak, I'm
opposite of
speak,
what Mark
I'm
said.
speaking to you. I'm speaking to
I
you,
know, but
brother.
wait up, you're saying
I'm
something
speaking to you,
opposite of
bro.
what Mark said. Mark said
One
that
last
that
chance. I'm
doesn't mean
speaking to you,
anything
brother.
to y'all because y'all
Will
faith
you?
is in what?
All right. Okay, man. I've given you multiple chances to recant your statement that the cross is an idol. We don't worship the cross.
We
It's a
sure do
symbol.
not.
It's a symbol of our faith in the person who died on that cross.
We definitely worship the God that hung there. We
Yeah.
definitely do. We definitely do that.
So again,
Unashamedly.
for
Unashamedly.
all of you Israelites who don't like it when certain words are used about your faith, and we try our best to honor that. But when we ask you for the same respect, you won't give it. So Byron, you know, I hate to remove you, man, but I gave you multiple multiple chances, but you refused. All right, so the paradox is still there, my friends. The paradox is still there.
It is. It is. And I believe it will continue to be there.
Hmm.
It will. It's, it's not real. I'm not real hopeful about us being able to get this toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I am thankful for, I'll say this, and my wife's gonna be coming in a minute. She's looking for me. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be I am very grateful that this was brought to light. Because Colin, I'll tell you, I have not heard of this. So I'm grateful to know it. I also see that where we are as Bible believers or people who are solo Christo, we believe in Jesus and our focus is on him, as the whole word of God is telling us to focus on him. He says everything that is written in the Old and New Testaments and the law and in the prophets and in the precepts is all about
Speaks
him.
of him. Yes.
He is the person we focus on. And it's the only safe place to be. So we will not find ourselves on either side. We won't be Anglo Israelite. We won't be Black Israelite. We won't be. Oh, I know people get offended by probably both those terms, but we are in the middle of it, where Christ is hanging centrally on the cross for the sins of every man and woman who believes.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. That's it. We're not gonna ever get common ground if you don't want to look at. Everybody's looking at Jesus differently. So anyway, best to you, man. I gotta go. I already know.
All right. Okay. Let me just throw this up there. Byron, look, man. I'm not kicking you because I'm disagreeing with your conversation. But again, the same respect that you ask of us by not using certain phrase to describe your belief system, the same thing I'm asking of you, and you are unwilling to recant that particular statement. So yeah, no, still love you, man. Still love you. The conversation was fine, but again, it is what it is, right? As far as the paradox still exists. You have two groups of people who are diametrically opposed racially, but they both claim the same source for their belief system. That's a huge paradox that I would like to even delve into further. I am just now learning of this, and so I want to delve into it more. Um, I'm This is like just scratching the surface. There are many books out there. It's going to take me a while to get these books and look into them, and so in the meantime, I'll be scratching away. I'll be scratching away at the surface of things. I will be looking into this, and I think this is a area that I may focus on because again, we have so many new belief systems that's popping up in the last, I say, 100 years. And since the 1960s, with the advent of civil rights and the Aryan Nation, of course, we had the Ku Klux Klan before that, but now in 2025, we have so many divergent viewpoints, on racial equity and racial justice and so forth. And when we have spiritually now these two groups that are claiming the same source, if you will, to validate their positions. And by no means am I associating the behavior of these groups to be equal, but I do say that the theology behind what they believe, I vehemently oppose both. I do not believe my God is a racist. I don't believe the Bible is based on salvation by race. I believe it's the human heart that God looks at and not the outer person. And when we focus on that 0.01% difference in humanity, that 0.01% is outer part of us, the facial features, skin tone. Just imagine that 99.9% of all human beings have that in common, except for 0.01%, which is the outward parts of who you see. And you're trying to tell me that God looks at that and say, yeah, based on that small percentage, I'm going to favor one race over another. I don't think so. God looks at the inner part while man looks at the outer. So my brothers, my sisters who may be part of that belief system, my hope is to, speak the truth, hopefully in love, and let the chips fall where they may. I cannot I cannot change your heart. Only God can do that. What I can do is to put the information out there, and hopefully, somewhere, if you do have the Spirit, He is nudging you and urging you to let you know that this theology that you have inherited or that you have picked up is not the right path that He wants for you. That goes for my Black Israelite brothers. It goes for my white Anglo brothers who, again, I think you're both in error when it comes to the salvation by race and not by grace. All right, brothers, sisters, it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. And hopefully we can pick this up again next week. I know we normally have some Hebrew Israelite trolls in here. And y'all may have been observing this week. So I guess y'all may want to come back next week and, bring your weapons loaded. Not literally, of course. bring your information and what you believe loaded. We'll be continuing along this vein in the coming weeks. If you're here for the first time, I should have said this earlier, please like, subscribe, and share. If you found this informative, if you want to see more content along these lines, please like, subscribe, and share. So until next week, God willing, we shall meet again. Until such time, peace. Just know that Jesus loves you. That's why I love you. Y'all have a blessed day.